My younger sister, Katie, 28, and her partner, Chris, 29 male, are getting married in April in Dubai. She's always wanted an extravagant wedding and is going all out on this, so the wedding is over 4 days. There are 70 guests, but they want us, me, my husband and parents, to stay in the same hotel with them along with her bridesmaids. I'm the maid of honour and groomsman. The hotel is pretty luxe, so with flights costing us just over £2,900 each. Chris's family, including his parents, 2 brothers and nephew, are also staying in the hotel. They're well off. I don't know exactly how much they earn combined, but I know Katie is on $88,000 and she's the lower earner. But about 6 months ago, Chris and Katie came to us and asked to borrow $17,000 more. They stressed it would be a loan paid over time and said the venue had increased the price. Dubai law was different, blah blah blah. They paid this money or they lost the lot. We believed them and I offered to loan $7,000 and my parents the other $10,000. So, long story short, I've since found out through someone else that the $17,000 wasn't for the venue. It was for Chris's family to fly over there. They saw how much it would be, didn't want to pay, and refused to go. I asked Katie and she confirmed, so my first question was, if they were paying for his parents, why not pay for ours? I would never expect them to pay for me, even if we couldn't afford it. I'd have wished them well and stayed at home. And her answer was, because they can afford it. She got very defensive and said this was the fairest way she could think of doing it. It's hard enough planning a wedding, etc. But when I asked if you genuinely thought this was the fairest way to do it, why did you lie about what the $17,000 was for and say it was a venue issue? She couldn't answer. My parents are aware of this and are very disappointed that they lied. They've said they're still attending, but I've backed out. It feels like my parents are being taken advantage of. And if they couldn't afford to pay for both our and Chris's parents and his brothers and nephew, they should have just paid for the 4 parents or no one at all. And they especially shouldn't have lied about it. Katie and Chris keep calling and asking me to attend, saying I'm making them feel bad and ruining their day. But the whole thing just feels icky to me. However, am I being an idiot here? Should I suck it up and go? Edit, the repayment. My husband's brother is a solicitor and he kindly drew up a contract and repayment plan for both my parents and me, so the money would be paid off within 12 months of the wedding. If they don't stick to this, I have access to a free solicitor. Haha. I hope it won't come to that, but that's why I have the papers for the worst case scenario. Asking for the $7,000 back, I might be a soft touch, but asking for this back feels like a step too far. Like, I'm mad as heck, but not enough to actively try to ruin their wedding a few weeks before, which it feels like, right now at least, is what that would be doing. But hey, give me a few more days to stew. If it was important to have the families there, then why are they doing this extravagant wedding? 4 days? In Dubai of all places? Why not someplace closer and less expensive for travel? It sounds like you're all in the UK, so many great countries nearby would have beautiful venues. Not the idiot. Your sister and her fiance should feel bad. They pulled a con job on you and your family, and they've shown no contrition about it. They only say that you're making them feel bad. Yet one of the many reasons I dislike destination weddings. They're the penultimate egocentric events. Wait a second. Not only are they not paying for your parents, but they're also having your parents pay for his. That's like a double whammy. Lying and manipulating you and your parents out of $17,000 is not a small thing. It's not normal, and it's going to get worse. How are you going to let her continue to use and lie to you? I don't know if you should go or not. Your choice will have a long-lasting impact on your relationship with your sister. Only you can decide if that is worth salvaging. I wonder if Chris has become obsessed with conspicuous consumption and/or has a chip on his shoulder growing up poor. Dubai is like what someone who isn't super informed thinks is a city where rich people live. Sure, Dubai does have rich people, but the ostentatious displays of wealth scream, "Be impressed with me, I spent so much money." I agree. It's unfortunate that they felt the need to have such an extravagant destination wedding when a local or closer wedding could be just as lovely. And it's hard to have fun and celebrate when a huge loan is hanging over your head. It's not about the money, but their lack of respect. You shouldn't attend as they clearly don't value you. They caused this mess, not you, and a wedding doesn't justify bad behavior. Update. Thanks again for all the feedback, everyone. I'm obviously not privy to their financial situation, but with the limited amount I do know from what Katie has said, Chris and his family grew up very poor. Before all this, I'd always thought Chris was a lovely guy, but I caught him in the odd but harmless white lie, things like where he went to school, the type of house he grew up in, etc. I get the impression he's embarrassed or resentful of his upbringing given their lack of money, and this is how he now values his own self-worth, by how much money he has. My guess is when his family said they couldn't go, he panicked and worried people who asked why they weren't there, and he would either have to say they couldn't afford it or he couldn't afford to pay for them. And look, his past trauma and experience is not for me to judge, but if that were the case, it just makes me madder that they both didn't plan ahead and talk to friends and family about what they could afford before booking Dubai. If it was such a deal breaker for his family to be there, they should have factored in the cost of paying for all parents to attend, instead of thrusting a $3,000 per person bill at them and expecting them to rock up. I, 41 female, live with my husband, 45, in a UK seaside holiday destination. We've been looking to move house for a few years, and I thought we had similar considerations. We spiraled into an argument today over my dream of having a home where our extended family could come for beach holidays, even while we're working. My husband is an introvert who works remotely. I'm an ambivert who can only work from home 1 day a week. This dream of mine would mean having a house where he could be at work undisturbed by any family who might come to stay. I was thinking of a garden office or something like that. We've talked about this sort of thing before, but I didn't realize he had a problem with my parents staying. He said he's fine with either of our siblings and their families staying whenever, as they'll be out in the day. But he doesn't want my parents in the house while he's working. His office is 5 minutes away, mine 3.5 hours. For context, my parents did walk behind him on a video call once. He was in the kitchen instead of his office and rang the doorbell after I asked them not to. When I was on one another time, I'd given them a key, so he said he doesn't trust them not to interrupt him. They've never gone out of their way to disturb. The few times I can recall have been accidents. He says that having a dream where my parents can come to stay whenever they like while he's working from home and I'm out at the office means I'm only happy when he's being made uncomfortable. To be clear, they wouldn't be coming unannounced or anything like that. My example is, there's a heatwave forecast and I can't take the time off, but they want to come down to the beach. The two main things we're arguing about and why I'm here are, he said buying a house with other people in mind is stupid. I agree. I shouldn't have said it was a priority and I apologized. I clarified that I want us to find a house that's perfect for our needs and then share it with the people we love. We're fortunate to live in a holiday destination and I'd love to share that good fortune with my parents while they're still alive. They're in their 70s. He can't understand why I'd want my parents to stay while I'm out working in the day, that it's not really spending time with them. He thinks my reasoning is irrational and that if I tried to explain it to anyone, they'd agree with him. So here goes. Most of the time I can take days off when my parents visit, but they're retired and could visit more often. It's a long drive, so having them come for a longer stay less often makes it more worth it for them and less tiring. A week instead of a weekend, not weeks or months. For me, it would give the illusion of them living nearby for a while. I know this part sounds silly, but I like the idea of them being around after work. I'd rather see them all day, but seeing them after work a bit more often would make it feel like they were closer by. So, am I the idiot? Fish and relatives start to smell after 3 days. You are the idiot. He doesn't want your parents staying at the house, and the majority of people don't enjoy their in-laws staying, to be honest. Also, this does not just disturb him during work, it affects his spare time too. I'm an extrovert and I like having guests stay for a limited amount of time. If people are in my house, I feel I have to talk to them and entertain them, and it's hard to just relax. So I have an office that people can stay in for a night or two. But OP says this would see them visiting a week instead of a weekend, and a week is so long, especially if OP can only get a day or two off and they're in the house with OP's husband. I would bet good money that they would be constantly popping their head in to ask OP's husband questions, etc. He specifically has a problem with OP's parents, which to me says OP's parents aren't the best guests for him. Especially when he's working from home, and they've demonstrated multiple times that they will disrupt his work. It's insane that OP is basically like, my parents' vacation is more important than my husband's job. Am I the idiot? Mom, if you invite your family to stay, you need to take the time off work to entertain them. It's incredibly easy for you not to be bothered in these situations as you won't actually be home. It's wrong of you to say it's just a minor inconvenience when it doesn't affect you at all. And lastly, having lived in a vacation town myself, we had rules about how often and how long family could come to stay with us. Parents got 4 weeks out of the year, siblings 2 or 3. Otherwise, it will lead to people treating your home as a free vacation. 4 years ago, my parents broke up because my dad cheated and got another woman pregnant. Dad moved in with his mistress and her kids, and Mom moved out of the family house and into something she could better afford to maintain with 3 kids. My dad and his mistress had some rough crap going on. My half-brother was born with multiple complications, and he was in the NICU for months. He requires all this specialized care. My parents divorced during the NICU stuff, and it was tense. My dad hated that Mom didn't pause the divorce so he could focus on the bigger stuff. Because of the affair and everything, I've, teen female, been angry at my dad, and I feel let down by him and ashamed of him. I never cared much about bonding with the mistress, now his wife, my step-siblings, or my half-brother. I went to his house every other week while I was ordered to, and then every other weekend when Mom was able to reduce his time with me. Dad's house struggles because of my half-brother's needs, and my dad tried to get out of child support because of it. The courts made him still pay, but he got it reduced by a little. Life at Mom's is way better because of that stuff, and it shows more for my siblings, young teen and young teen, because they're in the same grade as 2 of our step-siblings and stuff gets compared. But there's been a bigger issue lately. My dad can't afford to pay for field trips or other activities, but my mom can. So my siblings and I still get to do that stuff. And because we're at Dad's house less, he can't stop it. But 2 of his stepkids know when my siblings can do stuff that they can't. Dad had asked Mom to let him stop paying child support for a while because of a surgery my half-brother needed. He wanted my mom to gift the field trips to my step-siblings so that they can go too and won't feel like crap when they know we get to do that stuff. He said if Mom couldn't do that, he wanted her to not let us go. I think this talk happened in September, and there are a few experiences my siblings got to do that my step-siblings haven't gotten to do since then. Mom refused to stop providing for us, but she also refused to give to our step-siblings. Then, in November, my half-brother was brought to the hospital and he still hasn't come out. My step-siblings were worried and depressed about it, and they were being teased in school for missing stuff with the rest of their classes. So my dad went to Mom for help again, and she said no. My half-brother's grandparents were visiting, and they asked my dad and his wife to take the weekend off while in the hospital, and they stayed. It was our weekend at Dad's, so we were there. My dad was complaining to his wife about my mom and how petty she was, and selfish and evil because she was taking the affair out on my step-siblings, and how my half-brother could die this time. She can't do a single thing to help with the step's suffering when it wouldn't be anything huge. His wife called my mom something nasty in response and was basically all down on my mom. My dad said he found it hard to remember what he saw in Mom because she was so evil and cruel. I listened to them for like 10 minutes before confronting my dad and calling him out on what he said. I stood up for my mom and told him he has no right blaming Mom for making sure her kids are okay and taken care of and have what they need and even want. I reminded him she only has 3 kids and that his stepkids and his son are nothing to do with her, and it doesn't matter if the steps are suffering or my half-brother could die because they're not her responsibility. I said if he doesn't like that, then he shouldn't have cheated. My dad got really angry and we argued for like an hour. His wife was trying to argue, but she was ignored completely. Then her youngest from before Dad, who was like a pre-tween, started crying, so she went to check on her kids. But Dad and I really got into it and said crap, and he told me I picked a heck awful time to try and make him feel like crap, and did I not see how serious this stuff is? He said my concern should be my half-brother and not my mom right now, but he said my siblings and I don't seem to care if he lives or dies. Our step-siblings care, but we don't. Then he said to defend my mom when he's in pain is wrong, and to fight him on her behalf shows what a child I still am. My siblings and I went back to Mom's early because of the fight. Am I the idiot? Your father is a monumental idiot and a piece of crap. He messed around and wants to act victim because he's finding out the consequences of his behavior. His affair partner needs to keep your mom's name out of her mouth and get her baby daddy to pay for her kids. Nobody owes him anything. He had a legal responsibility to pay child support for you and your siblings. Your mother has no business with his wife or her kids or his cheating self beyond making sure he pays child support and she gets you to his house on his scheduled custody days. Your mom is a superstar for raising such a well-grounded and mature young person. Definitely not the idiot. Any reason why the father of the stepkids isn't taking care of them, or was she just whoring around and doesn't know who their dads were? Have you thrown in his face that he should probably get a DNA test on the half-sibling? OP, he's too stupid to realize what a terrible man he is, and it's a pity you still have to have a relationship with him. I'd throw his words back in his face. I can barely remember why I used to love you or respect you or see anything decent in you. You aren't the man we used to know. You're an actual embarrassment. Don't even get started on your affair partner. She's disgusting. The audacity of the father is off the charts. Keep defending your mom. Your father made his bed, and he will have to lie in his bed of bad choices. My philandering father's life went downhill when his kids refused to attend his pity parties about how bad his life was after the divorce. My father cleaned us dry, yet he forgot that he left with all the cash, and my mom and we kids almost went homeless because he took all the money. Stick with your mom and just remind your father he made his bed with his own bad choices. My husband has a friend, Erica. I don't like her. She always seems weirdly judgmental of the way we do things. Most of that judgment is on me. The last time she was over, she and my husband talked about kids. Erica and her SO have kids, as do we, and mornings got brought up. For some information, I don't do mornings, my husband does. He works 9 to 6 and I start at the same time as him but end earlier. He does mornings because he doesn't mind waking up earlier and I get more sleep and less on my mind in the morning. It's an arrangement that works for us and I always do it in the mornings if he's sick or physically can't. When Erica found that out, she started with judgment. I was in the same room but wasn't adding to the conversation. Stuff like, oh, both my husband and I do mornings and kinda sucks you're on your own 100% of the time. I didn't like that and let her know that my husband's and my decisions weren't her business. The topic switched over to something else and she didn't say anything related to me after. Am I the idiot? My husband says that I made it awkward. Not the idiot. I'm willing to bet that the friend and her husband don't have a happy household and she's projecting that onto you. To add to this, I bet the friend has a massive crush on your husband. Don't be surprised if, in the next couple of months, they get separated and Erica ups the judgment tenfold and starts to move on the husband. I think projection is the main thing, jealous that OP gets to have mornings to herself. But this brings up other issues. Like, why ain't your husband standing for you? Why is he still friends with her? This friend is into your husband and she's a pick-me, like an actual one. She's not your friend and she'll tear your family up just to spite you. She obviously dislikes you, and who's more in the wrong is your husband. If I was you, I would look into their friendship. Get so real with yourself right now. He's currently whining at you because standing up to Erica made it awkward. Do you honestly think he'd have said a word even if you gave him more time? The fact that you're standing up for yourself has him more concerned about awkwardness, is he 16, practically screams that he would have just brushed Erica's disrespectful BS aside to keep the peace like the spineless coward he clearly is. You're not the idiot, but this issue is more of a husband issue than anything else. Erica is 100% problematic, but your husband is enabling her to be so bold.